Good morning, good morning. As you can see from my background and my puffy ass face, it is first thing in the morning. It is a Saturday, and I thought today I would show you a kind of like a half a day in the life, I guess, a little bit of a training vlog, because I'm showing a little bit more of my training on social media and trying to talk about it a little bit more post injuries, plural. And today I wanted to show you how I'm training my legs post quad tear. It is something that people are asking about, so I thought, why not do a video on it? Because I'm just getting back into the swing of my training consistently again, and I'm absolutely loving it again. I don't want to really interrupt that flow, so I don't want to be talking to a camera during my training, but what I'm going to do is film my sets and then kind of walk you through the methodology behind the training, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and what I'm thinking about during specific exercises, just so you can maybe take away something, learn some cues, and maybe adopt some of the things that I'm adopting when training your own legs. So I'm about to crack on with my morning routine and maybe show you some of that, go and do my cardio, and then go and train. And then I'll do some mobility stuff. Me and Kimberly always on a Saturday go for like a sauna as well. So I'll do that, and then I'll show you my post-workout meal. And then, yeah, hopefully gives you like a little bit of insight into how I'm training my legs at the moment. It's a lagging body part for me, and it always has been, always will be. So it's definitely not something that I want to neglect any further. So yeah, if there's anything that you can take away from it, then magic. But yeah, stick around. So before anything else, first thing in the morning, I do this religiously every morning and I think most people probably should, and it's make this hydration digestion drink that tastes absolutely rancid. It's not enjoyable whatsoever, but if you're someone that struggles with digestion, even if you struggle with like bowel movements, that kind of thing, this is definitely something that you should incorporate into your morning because it is an absolute game changer. So basically, you get a mug. I put in 10 grams of creatine. You don't have to, but 10 grams of creatine just keeps it consistent. 10 grams of glutamine. 10 mils of lemon juice, 10 mils of apple cider vinegar. Try and make sure that it's like as raw and I guess, yeah, unfiltered as possible. And then 500 mils of just warm water. What I do is I boil a kettle, I fill up the mug, and I put a splash of cold water. I then go about my morning for like a few minutes, and before you know it, I'm fucking sprinting to the toilet because I've got a bowel movement. Look at that. Shit chat, quite literally. But yeah, if that's like something that you struggle with, which I know a lot of people do, especially just because of the way that most people's nutrition is nowadays, this is definitely something that you can incorporate, and it helps. It helps with general digestion. It obviously helps with bowel movements, but then you've got the glutamine, which will help with like recovery and hydration as well at the same time. And again, if even taking your creatine is something that you're inconsistent with, chucking that in as well could just help you stay consistent if it's something you're taking every morning. So the world's most horrible tasting, most rancid drink is now going down. I have a couple of things I need to get done this morning before anything else. So that's usually how I kind of go about my mornings. My Saturdays are a little bit different just because of like the structure of it all, I guess, and the fact that me and Kimberly go for like that sauna. So I have a few things that I need to get done. I'm going to go do my cardio, come back, shower, eat. I'll probably show you what I'm having for my breakfast / pre-workout meal. Go and train, sauna, chill out. I have a sauna like and a cold shower as well, which I'm not really one for like the whole wanky ice baths or like cold water exposure or anything like that. But one thing that I will say is that we probably spend like 15-20 minutes in a sauna. I sweat my balls off and I'm like towards the end really struggling. I get out and then there's a shower just like across the way, literally a few feet away, and it's just ice cold. And it's not just like one of those pathetic like showers that you would get at the swimming pool or whatever. It's like one of those overhead showers that covers your entire body at the same time. So I get out of the sauna, I go immediately to that and just fucking grow a pair, get underneath it, and I'm struggling to breathe and I start hyperventilating. But see, when I've covered my whole body and I'm freezing cold and all the sweat is off and I get out, like there's this kind of euphoric feeling I honestly don't know how to describe it. It sounds like I'm being very, very dramatic, but it feels incredible. I feel very relaxed. I feel calm. Nothing is tense. And I'm just like I feel like I'm floating on a cloud. That is the perfect way of describing it. So even though I don't know if it's necessarily doing anything for me like physiologically. I don't know if there's any benefits to it. However, it makes me feel phenomenal. So I just do it every time now because of how it makes me feel. So yeah, we'll go and do that. And then I'll come back. I'll show you what I'm having for my post-workout meal. Like, spoiler alert, none of the food is interesting. I might just talk a little bit about why I'm having certain bits and bobs so you can maybe incorporate that. Obviously, I'll show you my training. But yeah, and then we'll probably wrap up there because I'm a boring cunt. There's nothing really going to be, there's nothing for me to show you. I'm just going to be working the rest of the day. So me just like my fat arse sat in this position on my laptop is not exactly great watching material. Unless you're also a boring cunt and you just desperately need something to watch, I don't know. Or you get your sick thrills from watching other boring cunts. I'm going to stop using that word. That's very aggressive of me. It's a bad habit of mine. But yeah, I'm going to potter about. This thing will probably kick in. I'll be sprinting to the toilet. Go and do my cardio, come back, shower, change, and I'll show you my first meal. Meal one, pre-workout meal, whey protein, which I've already had as a shake. 50 grams of oats, 100 grams of raspberries, and 20 grams of nut butter. And I'm absolutely fuming because when your food goes low and you're on poverty calories and poverty portions, first world problems, by the way, you get a lot more anal about your food. You want it to be pretty spot on. And if it doesn't turn out the way that you like it, it's ruined your day. I've put too much water in with my oats and it's just a little bit on the soggier side, which, yeah. I sound like such a little fucking bitch, but it's ruined my day already, ruined my weekend. I've covered it in pink salt as well, by the way. So, I've probably spoken about this in previous videos because I love me some nutrition, some really shit nutrition chat. But basically, the sort of like, one thing that you always want to make sure with a pre-workout meal, in my opinion anyway, if you've got like an hour before you go and train, get a protein source, get a carb source, get a fat source, and get a fruit source. Okay, obviously with protein, you want to be getting that in because that's going to help with just, let's just say, muscle protein synthesis throughout that recovery period of you training in and after. Ideally, like breaking up your protein intake throughout the day evenly as well, more so just to help with, again, that like muscle protein synthesis, but also help with digestion, a complex carbohydrate. So the difference between a complex carbohydrate and a simple carbohydrate is basically, I think in layman's terms, it would just be like good carbs and bad carbs. Okay, so things like oats, potatoes, pasta, sourdough bread, that kind of thing. And then you've got like sugar, syrups, you could say rice-based cereals as well, to be fairly honest, because they are on the simple terms, much like myself. Sorry, I thought that was funny. Yeah, like the best way to sort of like describe the difference between the two is what you know is good carbs and what you know is bad carbs. Get a fat source in there, so things like avocado, dark chocolate, nuts, nut butter, extra virgin olive oil, oily fish. Again, make sure it's unsaturated fat, so it's a healthy kind of fat. And then a fruit source in there as well. The reason why you want a fruit source in there is, because vitamins, minerals, health, but also when you combine fruit with carbs, fruit brings something called fructose, carbs bring something called glucose. When you pair the two, you get more bang for buck out of them. Okay, so when you pair your glucose with fructose, that allows you to get more bang for buck out of that glucose. And again, this will just give me more energy for my training session. It's the exact same thing as post-workout. I have fruit in all of my meals because I just love fruit, but especially pre and post-workout, just so I'm getting more out of those carbs. But yeah, I am gonna get this down me, quickly do a little bit of work, and then go and train legs. Knowing me in my very amateur editing skills, there's not going to be any like sexy transition. It's probably just going to be me from here in the gym. So catch you in a bit. So just quickly before I fuck off to train legs, thought I might as well show you what I put in my intra workout drink. So what do I sip on like during my training session? So in a nutshell, what I take is just a 1.5 litre bottle. I put in 30 grams of Carb Drive. which is just a simple carbohydrate source, basically, like one of the simple carbohydrates I was talking about. Digests quickly, gets into my system quickly, and will fuel my workout throughout it when I start to dip off. 15 grams of essential amino acids. So amino acids, or essential amino acids, are these ones specifically are the 9 sort of building blocks that make up protein. So this is going to help with, well, this one helps with hydration, but it also will help with recovery during the training session, but also post-workout as well. And then I have another 10 grams of creatine on top of that. So that's 20 grams of creatine in total per day, which I think for most people, they're probably listening to that thinking, Ross, that's too much, blah, blah, blah. Look, creatine is like the most researched supplement out there. It's literally got nothing but pros, no negatives. And there's a lot of research coming out at the moment now about the cognitive benefits to creatine when taken at a certain dose. So I've been taking 20 grams of creatine for probably the past 8 weeks. I can't really say that I felt any kind of massive, to be fair, that's complete bullshit. Over the past like month or so, I've definitely felt a lot more switched on, a lot more focused, and a lot more productive. And I've kind of just put that down to more so just the fact that I'm dieting, I'm less fluffy, I'm more switched on, I'm more locked in. I've kind of just put it down to that, but there also might be a little bit of added benefits of creatine in there. I wouldn't say it's something where like overnight I immediately noticed it, but I've definitely noticed an increase in cognitive ability, in productivity, and just being efficient. And I put that down to more dieting, but I think it would be unfair to say that that's not had any kind of benefit whatsoever. And then I put in about 5 grains of pink salt, because this will just help with, I don't know if that was 5, muscle contractions, pumps, that kind of thing. Okay, so I'm about to make this. I am fucking off this time, and I'll see you in the gym. So something that I'm really trying to prioritize at the moment is activation work before training upper body and lower body. This is something I've been going to the gym for the past, 7 years now. And like adequate warming up, cooling down, mobility work outside of all of that is just something that I have been massively neglecting. And I'm 30 years old. I'm meant to be in the prime of my life, and I feel like a broken 80-year-old man. So it's as daft as I look doing all of these. I've been doing them consistently, even on rest days, for the past 2 months, and I'm noticing that I'm not nearly as stiff. My range of motion in exercises is significantly better. And I'm just not feeling as broken. My injuries have become a lot less, and kind of just doing these bare minimum. This looks fucking dumb, by the way, but it does work. Opens up your hips, opens up your glutes a little bit, and just warms up the lower body for going into squats and things like that. But yeah, just doing these kind of bare minimum dynamic stretches before training just basically opens everything up, loosens things off, and somewhat prepares your body physically for going into working sets. So what I've been doing is like lower body stuff. I'll do this prior. This is not the mobility work that I'm doing, but like spending 5-10 minutes doing some activation work before I train upper body or lower body has become a non-negotiable for me. And also doing like a lot of plank work as well at the moment. I'll do crunches on upper body days and then planks on lower body and rest days, just to sort of brace my core and warm things up. So with my lower body days, I start off with dumbbell hammer curls on the preacher bench. This I find is just like one of the best bicep exercises for me, and all I'm really thinking about is controlling the bicep towards the bottom, not letting the weight just fall down, feeling a massive stretch in my bicep at the bottom, and then squeezing the absolute fuck out of my bicep at the very top, making sure that my palm stays in a neutral position throughout the entire time, and I don't whack myself in the face with a dumbbell as well. I try and keep 1 rep shy of failure here, just because my biceps in a very sort of vulnerable position with this movement. So I don't want to overdo it, and I as much as I like going for failure on everything, this is just not worth it for this exercise. Then I go into a standing cable bicep curl here. Now this is a bicep exercise where I will go to complete failure. Okay, and all I'm thinking about is holding it in the short or contracted position at the top, squeezing the absolute fuck out of my arms at the very top there for about 2 seconds, and then slowly lowering it back towards the bottom again. So this is more of a sort of standard bicep exercise. It's working the bicep just sort of overall. That preacher dumbbell hammer curl was working the bicep more in a stretch position. So I'm just kind of challenging the bicep in two sort of different ways. And I just chuck this on to the beginning of legs just so I can get a little bit more bicep work done. And then that takes me into lying leg curls. And I will always start a lower body day with some kind of hamstring exercise. I do seated hamstring curls on my first lower body day. And then on the second one, I'll do a lying hamstring curl, trying to focus more on squeezing the hamstrings at the very top of the movement. And this should be a staple for anyone before they go into any kind of lower body training, is starting off with hamstring curls, in my opinion. Just warms up the knees, and gets a lot more blood flow into that lower body. Then I go into leg extensions, where I'm pretty much trying to, without sounding wanky about it, I'm trying to, again, warm up my knees a little bit more, but also I'm trying to pre-fatigue my quads. I'm trying to get as much blood flow into my quads. I'm trying to warm them up efficiently. And I just find that my leg pressing, my squatting, just anything in general is a hell of a lot more. I feel it more, it's more comfortable, and it's less painful in my knees when I've got a leg extension to begin with. Now, normally I'll do a barbell RDL here. This is the first time of me trying an RDL on this belt squat here. As you can see, I'm just shifting my hips backwards, really keeping a soft bend in my knees, not trying to keep too much of a knee bend there, because I want more of the focus on my glutes and my hamstrings more than anything else. I do feel it in my back, but it's a hip hinge, so you're going to feel it in your back. You're meant to. But you'll notice that, my leg is relatively straight there because I want a little bit more hamstring. If you're trying to get a little bit more glute, what I'd recommend doing is having a softer bend in the old knees, just so you can get a little bit more glute activation during that kind of movement. And then after fucking myself over with that, I go straight into a single leg press. And this, for me, is the absolute goat of kind of like compound leg exercises. I can get a really good sort of range of motion on it. I can get complete depth. I can keep my foot low on the platform without my heel or pelvis coming up. I can feel it in my quad throughout the entire movement, whereas if I do a standard leg press, it's more in my glutes. For me, it's just an absolute top tier exercise. So all I'm thinking about is really controlling that weight, and it's at the bottom when I'm pushing the weight back up. I'm trying to think less about explosively pushing it up, and I'm trying to think about more just moving the weight. And I know that sounds a little bit daft, and they might be the same thing, but I'm trying to really make sure that it's my quad that is pushing the weight back up and not anything else. It's not shifting onto my hips. It's not shifting into my glutes. I'm not using any kind of like upper body momentum to shimmy the weight up the entire time. And this is why my reps are continuous as well. All that tension and all that weight is just placed on my quads, and it's my quads that are moving the weight. You'll notice as well, there's been a bit of a wardrobe change as well. Going from white trainers to black trainers. These are basically squat shoes where the heel is elevated and can just generate a little bit more power and get a little bit more knee flexion in that kind of movement. That then takes me into adductors. And with this, all I'm really thinking about is I get like bringing my knees together more so, and then squeezing my thighs when my legs are closer together. Okay, so again, this is all about accuracy and control in slow reps. So I want 2 seconds when the muscle's being stretched and 2 seconds when the muscle's being contracted, and like about a 2 to 3 second negative. Just making sure that it's my adductors, the inside of my thighs, are actually moving that weight in and out rather than anything else. And it's an exercise that can take to complete failure there as well. Angle on here is a bit shit, but just given the location of this leg press here, which I'm using for calf raises, calf presses, whatever. All I'm thinking about is keeping a soft bend in my knees, not having my legs fully locked out, spending as much time in a stretch position for my calves as possible, and then fully contracting them and getting my heels up as high as I possibly can. Okay, so now obviously back from the gym, and quite clearly never filmed my mobility stuff. Number one, because I completely forgot to. After training legs, just a bit of a space cadet, which is very much the kind of place I'm in right now. So yeah, I completely forgot to film it. It is nothing interesting. If you want to see what I'm doing for mobility work after tearing my quad, then feel free to let me know, and I can do a separate video for that. But yeah, just doing like 20 to 30 minutes mobility. Usually the way that I set it up is I'll do my cardio first thing in the morning. Like this is like Sunday through till Friday. I'll do my cardio first thing in the morning, fasted, do 20 to 30 minutes mobility. And then if I'm training on that day, I'll train in the afternoon after a couple of meals. On a Saturday, it's a little bit different. I like do my cardio, wait a little bit, train, mobility afterwards. And me and Kimberly go for a sauna. And I'm feeling very like zen and relaxed after the cold shower. But anyway, home post-workout meal is a way to go down as well. Nothing interesting. Chicken, rice, pineapple. So the way to set up a post-workout meal is basically the same as a pre-workout meal, just removing the fat source. In case you know how I was saying before, you want protein, carbs, fats, and fruit. The reason why you want fats in a pre-workout meal is because it slows down digestion. So you're getting more from the carbs throughout that session because they're not just going basically in and out, and they're just lasting a little bit longer. Post-workout, you don't want something slow down your digestion, sorry. You want it in your system, digesting, being absorbed as quickly as possible, so you're getting those fats and you're getting them to fuck. So protein, carbs, fruit. Fruit is helping you get more bang for buck with the rest of the carbs. I used to have like cream of rice or a rice-based cereal, and my digestion just wasn't the best with it. So over the past couple of months, I swapped out for just good old chicken and rice with some pineapple there, and it goes down like an absolute treat. My farts are no longer stinking, and I'm no longer bloated or anything like that. So I'm going to get this down and then wrap up the video there. Obviously, that's kind of been a wee bit of an insight as to how I'm currently training my legs post quad tear. So I have 2 leg days per week. I'm following a push-pull legs upper lower split, so training 5 times per week, hitting each body part muscle group twice a week. And the 2 lower body days, the first one is, I guess, like a little bit more quad focused than the second one, as you've seen from the clips today, are a little bit more glute and hamstring dominant, with just like a little bit of quad top up in there as well at the same time. The volume is very, very minimal at the moment. Like we're talking 2 sets per exercise max, unless it's calves. I can throw a 3rd set in there because I'm feeling crazy. Mainly because I fucking need it. My calves are abysmal. But just I want to build that volume up ever so slightly over time. I mean, I do enjoy doing 2 sets per exercise because you kind of have the mindset of you need to make them count. But right now, just my body is finally back into a position where I can train legs hard again. I want to just keep that recovery in a very good spot, so 2 sets is absolutely more than enough. But yeah, hopefully you've learned something. Hopefully going through the cues in each exercise and how I set up a leg day, you can take that away and apply it to your own training. Any questions, any issues on anything that I've mentioned, obviously feel free to drop a comment below, send me a DM on Instagram, and I'll catch you in the next one.